Today we're going to take some time to review division before we start putting decimals into our problems. So, partial quotients, you may have learned that in earlier grades. I'm really going to try to steer you away from using this because in 6th grade we end up adding decimals here. And sometimes I need to add decimals and zeros and take my problem out. And when you have this big bar here, it doesn't allow that to happen. So we're really going to try to focus on traditional long division. Here's how it works. I'm going to take and make groups of 18. So to make groups of 18, I want to see, can I make groups of 18 from 4? No, I can't. So nothing's going to go above the 4. Okay. Can I make groups of 18 from 49? I can. I can make 2. So I put it right above. See how everything's staying in these columns? Okay. So 2 times 18 gives me 36. I put it here. Subtract, I'm left with 13. I always look to make sure that when I subtract, my difference is less than the number of groups I'm splitting into. So 18, so that's smaller. I then go ahead and bring down my 0. My number is now 130. How many times can 18 go into 130? Well, if I'm not sure, I can come off to the side and do some work and figure it out. But 18 times 7 gives me 126. When I subtract, I'm left with 4. 4 is smaller than 18, so therefore my answer is correct. Now, in 6th grade, they put the remainder here, but, we're a little older, so we're going to actually write it as 27 and drive around and pick up our friends. So 4 left over out of 18. So 27 and 4 out of 18 is one way I could write this. I also know that 4 out of 18 is 4 and 18 are divisible by 2, and I could also write it as 2/9. Now, here's another example problem over here. I'm dividing into groups of 6. So let's look. We call these our target numbers. Can I make groups of 6 from 4? Nope, so nothing's going to be here. If you want to put a little X up there to show yourself that, you're certainly welcome to. It doesn't hurt anything. Can 6 go into groups of 49? It can. It can go in 8 times. Now, I'm going to show you incorrectly, because watch. If I say only 7, 7 times 6 is 42. And when I subtract, I'm left with 7. Do you see how my 7 is larger than 6? That means, I can take a whole nother group out. So I need to do some rewinding here. And I'm going to say 7 times 8 is actually my answer, and I get 48. Now when I subtract, I'm left with 1, and 1 is smaller than 6, so I can continue. Okay, again, see how I'm keeping everything nice and neat in my columns? Okay, as I go down. All right, I'm going to bring down my 7 to make 17. 17 is my new target number. How many 6s can go into 17? If I have to use my multiplication chart, I can figure it out. It's 2, gives me 12. If I go to 3, it's 18. That's too much. So I subtract, I'm left with 5. 5 is smaller than 6, so I can bring down my next number, which is a 3. 6 can go into 53 8 times, which is 48 again. I'm going to subtract, and when I do my borrowing, I'm left with 5. So I can drive around and pick up my friends. 828 and 5 left over out of 6. How I write my answer. So we just did a problem with a divisor of 6, which was pretty easy. These next two problems, we're going to do problem 3 and 4 together. They're a little bit more difficult because I don't know my 68 facts and my facts for 32. So we're going to have to do some work over off to the side. How many times can 68 go into 6? It can't, so I'm going to put an X here. How many times can 68 go into 66? Ooh, we're just a little short, so I'm going to put an X there. How many times can 68 go into 668? Well, I know that 68 times 10 is 680, so that's a little too much. So let's try 9. So I can come over here to the side, do 68 times 9. Okay, this requires some extra work. I get 72, carry this 7. Oops, I accidentally changed colors in the process. And 9 times 6 is 54. 54 plus 7. Oops, it's not Yeah, 9 times 6 is 54. 54 plus 7 is 61. So I get 612. So 9 works. I'm going to put 9 above the 8. Again, I'm keeping everything in my columns nice and organized. So if I draw lines down here, see how everything's staying in my columns as I go? Okay. So I subtract. I'm left with 6. I'm left with 5. 56 is smaller than 68, so therefore I can bring down my next number. Now I know that 9 times 68 gave me 612. So 612 is going to be bigger than 568. So maybe we could try doing 8. Let's see how that works. So let's do down here. 68 times 8. 8 times 8 is 64. Carry the 6. 8 times 6 is 48. 48 and 6 more is 54. Hey, by golly, it looks like that'll work. So I'm going to put my 8 up here. And then I'm going to subtract. I'm left with 20. Here's my answer. So 98 and 20 out of 68. Now, if I wanted to estimate this, which I always forget to do, and I should have done that first, I could have maybe changed this to 70, and I always change this number first. So then what can I change 6 or 66 to that's close to 7 or 70? Well, I can actually change it to 70 and then make these 2 zeros. So cross off a 0 and a 0. 7 goes into 7 one time, and I add 2 zeros. So my answer should be about 100, and it looks to me like we were pretty close. Now, how do I check my answer? Well, I take 98 whole groups times 68, and then once I get that answer, I'm going to add 20 to it, and that should take me back to 6,684 is how I can check my work. Let's do one more together. I'm going to divide by 32. How many times does 32 go into 9? It doesn't. Into 95. Well, let's see here. I know this is about 30, so 3 times 30 is 90. So let me see if 3 would work. And it gets a little too big, so that means I only can do 2. So when I subtract, I'm left with 31. 31 is smaller than 32. So I can go ahead and bring down my 9. I now have 319. Well, I know that 32 times 10 is 320. So let's do 9. Oops. I get 200. I multiplied by the wrong number. That's not going to help us. 32 times 9. I get 18. And 288. Let's see if that works. I put the 9 right above because I'm keeping everything in my rows. I'm going to go ahead and subtract. I'm left with 1. I'm going to do some borrowing. And I have 31 again. Look at that. We're so close. Let's bring down the 5. Again, 32 times 10 would be 320. I only have 315, so it looks to me like we're going to have to use that 9 again. 9 times 32 I already did over here is 288. I have to do some borrowing here. 15 take away 8 is 7. I have to do some more borrowing. 10 take away 8 is 2. I'm going to drive around and pick up my friends. And I get 299 and 27 out of 32. Let's check my estimate. If I should have estimated first, if I divide by groups of 30, that might not give me enough room if I do that there. Okay. What can I round the 9 or the 95 to? So that's divisible by 3 or 30. Well, let's just make it 9,000 divided by 30. Cross off a 0 and a 0. 3 goes into 9 3 times. I add 2 zeros. My estimate's 300. 299 is very close to 300.